Morning, guys. How's it going this morning? Another day, another kind of sleepy day, I guess. Really sore this week. I had a heavy training session on Sunday. So if you guys didn't tune in on Sunday, I did like a yin yoga, which is kind of just like recovery. So I kind of dimmed the lights a little bit in the class, and it was just like a feel-good yoga session. So you should, if this coming Sunday, it's going to be Tanya James, JiuJitsu girl from Arizona. And next week or next month, I added on another yoga instructor from, she trains over at Marcelo Garcia's up in New York. So she's going to be teaching. She's actually going to be in Bali when she's going to be teaching. So it's going to be kind of a cool background. So most likely she's going to have like a pretty dope background in the actual class. So stay tuned. So just give you a little heads up on what we're doing today. So this week is going to be the last little stretch of the stuff that we've already done. If you've been taking the classes the last few times, they're pretty similar. Like the baseline is pretty similar, just with some mild variations. We're going to kind of continue on that path, and then we're going to change a little bit next week. So we're going to start adding in like ankle stuff for butterfly guard to kind of help with your hooks. We're going to add in some wrist and finger stuff to help with jiu-jitsu gi shit, so that your hands can heal, so that you don't have to use as much tape as you probably use. Not that I disapprove of tape, but tape should be there to support, not to replace the dexterity of your fingers. So I think tape is there for like when your fingers are actually injured, not just sore and tender. So we're going to kind of start to integrate some of that stuff. Please give me feedback as much as you possibly can. The more feedback you give me, the more I can adjust the program according to what you guys kind of tell me, and then we take it from there. I'm gonna also I started teaching live classes here in Miami. So every Saturday I teach at Mario Sperry's gym right before their open mat. On the first and third Sunday of every month at Black House MMA in Miami Beach. So if you want to come take a class with me in person, you're more than welcome to. Somewhere, DM me and then I'll tell you what the process is in order for you to be able to do that. So yeah, hope everybody's having a good week so far. Today's Tuesday. I had a pretty good weekend. Not sure what your goals are so far this week. But let's try to focus on them. Hopefully, I'm hearing some negative things about some of the states are going to start shutting down again for COVID. I don't know how to respond to that. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt us here in Florida. New York might be a little bit of a problem. So all my New York people, if you're watching, sorry. You're more than welcome to come down to Florida, come train with me. You're welcome to, if I know you personally, you're welcome to come crash on the couch. I don't know. I feel bad for everybody up in New York if there's like another lockdown. All right, so let's get started with the breath, like we always do. If it's your first time tuning in, so we always start with the diaphragmatic breath. So just give you a little recap. You're gonna push the diaphragm down, breath in, and relax out. Just keep going. We're gonna keep doing it. Keep going, no matter what. Just keep the rhythm going. If you've never done it before, you're gonna feel like off rhythm. It takes a little bit of practice, just like anything. Then in between, we're gonna do like isometric holes. So we're gonna hold the breath, and then we're gonna do exhales as well. So which is exhale is all the way out, belly button in, and then relax in. So it's either breath in, reflexive out, or breath out, reflexive in. Okay? Just don't stop. The key here is to try to expand the breath, expand the rib cage, open up your lungs even more. So the goal is really, we're working out here. We're working your lungs out. Well, not really your lungs. We're working your diaphragm out and your whole rib cage to open up. So just keep that in mind. Don't be lazy with it. The idea is to like really practice opening up your chest. opening up your position when you do this, so that your lung capacity has the expansive space in order for you to be able to increase the amount of oxygen that you take in. Okay, so here we go. Close your eyes. Before we get started, just take a second on what you want to get out of this class. It could be as simple as like, oh, I have a little bit of discomfort in my hip. I want to stretch out my hip. I want to wake up for my day. Whatever it may be, just put like an intention onto what you're trying to accomplish for the class today. Start checking in with your breath. Start being self-aware of your diaphragm and what your body does in order for you to breathe in and to breathe out. And here we go. Diaphragm down and breath in. And reflex it up. Again, breath in. And reflex it up. Don't stop. A few more. Two more. Last one, breath in. And hold. This is where the mental capability comes in, because your body is going to naturally want to breathe out and to suck. It wants the oxygen right now. Just ignore it. Hold your breath. You just finished taking in a bunch of oxygen. Your body's fine. It's just in a panic state. The better you get at holding your breath in this position, the better you're going to do when someone's in side control or someone's trying to pass your guard. The idea is not to panic and still be able to utilize oxygen in your blood. And reflex it out. And again, in. And reflex it out. And again, in. And reflex it out. Again, in. And reflex it out. Two more. Last one in. And reflex it out. And hold. For those of you that train 3 to 4 times a week and have pretty good conditioning, this breath right here where you're holding on the exhale, you want to be able to hold it for like 2 to 3 minutes. If you haven't gotten to that point, work daily, twice a day, 3 times a day, before you train, after you train. Get your diaphragm and your lung capacity to its maximum capability so that when you train harder. Reflex it in. All the way out now. Belly button in, belly button in, belly button in, belly button in. And reflex it in. All the way out. Belly button in, belly button in, belly button in. And reflex it in. And again. A few more. Last 2. And one more. Sit with a calm breath. Enjoy those happy feelings that you got. Blood saturated with oxygen. All right, open up your eyes. Get into that 90-90. I'm gonna face the camera today. 90 degrees here, 90 degrees on the back leg, like so. Remember, we're doing pails and rails for the rear leg. So one of the reasons why we're doing this every time is because we got to rep this out like anything else. We got to get used to being in this situation, or our body needs to be comfortable in this situation, because this is what's going to feed all the other exercises that we're going to do down the road. So understanding basic hip internal and external rotation at the end ranges is going to tie into all the other exercises that we do. So find your end range, whatever that is for you. Walk yourself forward, use yoga blocks. The idea is to try to keep your hip forward, press this knee down so that your tailbone goes up towards the ceiling, and then you're able to hip hinge forward. So pretend there's like a crease right here and you're folded over that crease. So don't do it with your spine. You want to do it with the hip. You're hip hinging forward. Just hang out here for a couple seconds. Awesome. We're going to start doing pails in the background, in the back leg. So pretend there's a scale underneath your back foot, and you're trying to press down onto that scale with your foot. And you're going to slowly rev up 10%, 20%, 30%. And get to that 40% marker where you're putting 40% effort into that back foot, and that external rotators, that stuff inside your glute, the back part of your butt cheek in the back, and a little bit of your inner thigh are firing to cause that tension into the ground. Keep holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails is lifting that back foot up, holding everything stationary. I'm not rotating my spine, I'm not rotating my hip, and I'm just trying to lift that back foot up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly let it down. Find more space if possible. Self-adjust a little bit. Make sure everything's at 90 degrees. I need to adjust a little bit myself back here. And melt into the new space. Start pushing down on that back leg again. This time we're going to do maximal effort. But what we want to do is practice that tension and increasing that tension. The better you get at this, the better you're going to get at submissions. Because only a few submissions that you get, like arm bars or triangles, you're going to go 150% for the squeeze. Most of the time, you're trying to do it like a python, and you're trying to slowly squeeze the breath out of your opponent. So that's kind of what you're doing with these exercises here. You're slowly increasing the amount of effort that you're trying to squeeze into the ground. So keep pushing on that back foot down. Get to that max effort. Keep revving up. And now hold. Hold. Keep holding. 7, 6. Should be shaking at this point. If you're not putting enough effort into that back foot. 3, 2, 1. Rails. Get that foot up. Squeeze those internal rotators. This stuff right here is going to cause that foot to get up. Don't rotate your pelvis. Keep your pelvis stationary as you hold that foot up. And hold it up. Keep holding. Dig. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly let it down. Slowly get yourself out of it. here onto tabletop, all fours. We're going to do a couple hip C.A.R.s in this situation. From here, flex that knee in. Open up as if you're peeing on a fire hydrant. Don't let the foot fall as you internally rotate and extend up towards the ceiling. Get that glute to fire, those hip extension muscles. Come back to neutral, and then you're going to reverse. Hip extension up. Externally rotate as we bring the hip or the knee towards the chest and go into hip flexion. And then again, hip flexion, hip abduction, internal rotation as we kick up towards the ceiling. Come back to neutral, and then reverse. Hip extension up. Externally rotate as I bring the leg around to the other side. Ooh. The better you get at hip C.A.R.s, the more of a challenge they are. So that's one of the reasons why, like down below, I give you access to like a full C.A.R.s program, because they're important. The better you get at C.A.R.s, the more communication you get with those intricate muscles at each hip joint. And the better you get at those, the better you get at everything else. So it's basically starting foundational stuff, very internal, so that you can get good at the internal of the body, so that you can now add external load, which is weightlifting, which is JiuJitsu stuff, whatever. But switch on the leg, 90-90. This side is always a struggle for me. So find that end range, whatever that is for you. I got a lot of tension on my right hip. And again, remember, you're trying to hip hinge forward. Don't round at the spine. You're hip hinging forward. Pressing, not with your hand, but with your muscle effort of your leg, of that front knee, so that your pelvis then shoots up towards the ceiling. Your tailbone shoots up towards the ceiling. And hang out at that end range for just a second. Good. Start pushing down on that back foot. Start doing those pails. Slowly rev up. You're going to notice a difference from one side to the other. For me particularly, it's hard for me to slow the rev up on this side, on my left side. I just don't know. That's just my body. It is what it is. You have to work with what you got. Everyone's aches and pains are a little bit differently. And hold that 40% now. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, get that back foot up. Squeeze, squeeze. Get this stuff working to internally rotate your femur. Again, dig. Get that foot up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it down slowly. If you found additional space, melt yourself forward. Get deeper into that hip capsule. Get those hips as much dexterity as you possibly can. The better you get at this, the better you're going to get at replacing guard, lasso, spider, just everything. You're going to have more hip control. The more hip control you have, the better you're off. Now, rear leg, here we go. 10. 20%. Get that foot pressed down on that scale. You're doing maximal effort now. 50%, 60%. Keep rising. Figure out what muscles need to engage in order for you to do that external rotation out the hip, pressing that back foot down as if it was on a scale. You're trying to weigh 1,000 pounds, a ton. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, get that foot up. Get that foot up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it down slowly. That was hard for me. And melt yourself forward. Slowly walk out of it. Get to the hip car. Hands and knees. Knee to chest. Open up. Internally rotate as I kick into hip extension. Come back to neutral. Reverse. Hip extension up. Externally rotate as I bring that knee to flexion, to hip flexion. And reverse. Hip flexion, hip abduction, internal rotation as I keep that foot up into hip extension. And reverse. Hip extension up. Externally rotate as I bring the knee around. Awesome. Take a second, catch your breath. I'm going to turn on the AC. It's getting hot in here. Awesome. Stay on our side. Get a yoga block. Put it on our head. Yep. So sleeper stretch. Knees in front of your hip. Elbow in front of your shoulder. 2 fingers at your elbow. Pull the elbow away so more of your shoulder is underneath you. Take the top hand, place it on the bottom hand, and slowly start to like find that end range. What does that look like for you? Some of you may be flexible. Some of you may be all the way up here. Doesn't really matter where you're at. The idea is to expand the space that you have. So sit here for a couple seconds. Make some adjustments. Wiggle, see where the line of tension feels, that how it hurts so good type of vibe. Okay, now we're doing pails. Remember, pails is pushing up. Rails is pulling the bottom hand with the muscle effort of your shoulder, and you're going to internally rotate as much as you can. What I think of is reaching for my belt buckle, if I had a belt buckle. Okay, so start pushing up. Here we go. Pails, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Hold that tension. We're revving up. It's communicating to our shoulders. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now rails, bring, reach, reach, and reach, and reach, and reach, reach, 2 and 1. Get the top hand to meet the bottom hand. Hang out at the new space that you just acquired. Take a couple breaths. Now we're doing pails again. Rev up. This time, maximal effort. So slowly rev up. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Start pushing. You should be trembling by now. If you're not trembling at 60%, you're not putting enough effort into it. And now max effort. Keep rising that effort. Keep rising. There we go. That's it. And now hold. Hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Pull that bottom hand away and reach. Reach for that belt buckle. Dig. Get that internal rotation. Dig. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Get the top hand to meet the bottom hand. And swim in that "ow, it hurts so good" range. I like to play with it here. Extend a little bit at the elbow, flex, adjust a little bit at the raise the elbow up, explore those end ranges a little bit. This right here is a Kimura. So the better you get at this, the less scared or the longer you can wait before you tap because you've been here before. Slowly get out of it. Other side. Okay. Yeah, knees in front of your hip. 2 fingers at your elbow, and your elbow away, so more of your shoulders underneath your body. Take the top hand, slowly put it down, internally rotate. As you can see on this side, my range of motion is not really as good as it is on the other side. Just find that end range, whatever that end range looks like for you. Once you found that line of tension, just hold it there for a second. Take a couple breaths. Yeah, let's start the pails. Pails is pushing up. Here we go. 10%, 20%. Don't go 150% at the very beginning. Remember, we're revving the amount of effort that we're putting out. Always with the first set or the first rep, you always want to start slowly. 30%, 40%. Hold that tension at 40%. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Keep holding. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Try to internally rotate more. Bring that hand towards your belt buckle. Dig. Figure out where you got to get that internal rotating move. Dig. Dig. 2 and 1. And relax now. Swim in that new space, whatever that looks like. Take a breath. Relax the tension. Adjust the elbow if you need to. Find a new line of tension. And let's do pails. Here we go. Up 10%, 20%. Now we're doing max effort. 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%. So this is where you should start shaking already. If you're not shaking, you're not digging hard enough. Dig. Dig. Keep pushing harder. Maximal effort here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rails, pull, pull, pull. Internally rotate. Bring that hand towards your belt buckle. Reach, reach. What muscles need to incorporate in order for you to be able to reach? Reach. 5, dig. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Explore that end range a little bit. Slowly get yourself out of it. I'm going to use tennis balls. You don't have to use anything. This is just an external cue for you to do internal, external rotation. So we're just going to kind of keep. This is like another version of C.A.R.s. We're practicing internal, external rotation. So we're going to squeeze the balls here, and we're going to alternate how each direction. So maximal internal rotation as we do external rotation here. So the idea is pretend there's an imaginary string on each one, and we're trying to pull in opposite directions of each one. Take your time. Try not to let your elbow fall. And hang out at the end range here. We just finished making space on in your shoulder joint. Now we need to teach your nervous system that's able to do it. Squeeze the balls if you have them or not. Think fist. So all you're going to do is do it with your fist instead of with a tennis ball. Try not to do what I just finished doing by raising your scapula. Don't do this. The idea is to keep your shoulder blades down as you do this motion. One more each way. Last one. Awesome. All right. So same sequence as we did last time, which is mountain climbing with reach, plank to push-up, and the scapular push-ups. So same series. I'm going to go through it real quick now because I've been doing the same little circuit for the last like 4 classes. So if it's your first time tuning in, I'm going to go through it real quick. It's a very simple movement. So we're starting in child's pose or turtle or whatever you want to call it with your toes tucked. Okay? Sitting back on your heels, your toes active, your hands out in front of you, your forehead to the ground. From there, all you're going to do is you're going to come up, step, you're going to reach back, then you're going to alternate sides. Very simple. From there, you're going to do plank to push-up, up to plank, push-up, back. Again, simple. And the last one is scapular push-up. So being in this position, elbows locked, and just practice going up and down with just your shoulder blades. If you don't have the strength to do it here, do it with your knees down. That's probably what I'm going to do because I have very weak. The primary move is your serratus anterior, which is the very intricate muscle on the rib cage. But we have that muscle very weak because of jiu-jitsu. We're always in this crunch position. So for me, it's a very difficult movement. All right, guys, here we go. So we're going to do 8 of the first one, 6 of the second one, and then 10 of the last one. So here we go. One last one. And plank to push-up. Same position you start with. Plank, push-up, and back. Again. And scapular push-ups. I'm going to do it on my knees. I'm trying to get a range of motion here, and not just get it over. So I'd rather do less load, do them good and strong. And relax. Pardon me, sorry that I'm getting up close on the camera. Just adjusting something on my phone, on my laptop. Catch your breath. Well, scapular push-ups for me get me out of breath. I don't know why, but they do. All right, here we go. One more round. Same thing. 8, 6, 10. Count it out at your own pace. You don't have to go with me. The idea here is to try to stay up with me. If you can't do it, you can't do it. This is one of those things where you got to be self-aware of what your capabilities are. So when you reach it and you can only get out here, just go there. But really what the goal is to get your foot next to your hand and be able to do this with your back leg straight, and then be able to reach back with your opposite arm posting you in a efficient way where you're not overworking your arms when you do this. Okay? Here we go. 28. And back to push-up now. One. And scapular push-ups. Here we go. Make sure that you're keeping your arms locked. Doing all the motion with your shoulder blades. Almost so hard. Catch your breath. Okay, the next one we're going to do is we're going to do a hip opener, another hip opener. Well, I'm going to add a little bit something to it, if depending on how advanced you are. So we always normally start with the half kneeling. We've done this before, we're half kneeling, we're finding the end range. Now what we're doing is we're doing the same thing, but we're going to start in a more internal rotation type of situation. So remember, 10 to 15 degrees on that front knee. And what we're going to do is we're going to kickstand this foot, the back foot, outwards so that we're in more hip internal rotation, and then shift your weight forward so that you get a bigger and harder stretch on that back hip. Catch your breath. Give me 1 second. Catch your breath. All right, guys. So half kneeling, here we go. Kickstand the foot outwards. As much as you comfortably can. From there, shift your hips forward and go into that end range, whatever that looks like for you. You can use a wall for support, sticks like I like to use sometimes, or you can just brace yourself on here. If you decide to do it this way, the goal is to not round your spine. So you gotta really think that you're kind of like tucking the pelvis and elongating like that long muscle across your thigh. Good. Find that end range, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, now the pails is trying to drag that back knee towards that front foot. You're gonna slowly rev up, start revving up, 10%. 20%, 30%, 40%. Hold that 40%. Should be feeling like this kind of stuff, like on the inner thigh or the top or the medial quad muscle. 2, 1, rail, squeeze that glute, squeeze that hamstring, and push yourself forward through muscle effort of your back glute. Elongate that front part of your thigh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release the tension. Sit into that new space, whatever that looks like for you. Take a couple breaths. From there, start trying to drag the back knee towards that front foot. Dig. Trying to do max effort now. Should also feel it on this front hip as well. And hold that tension. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and squeeze that glute. Squeeze, 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 hamstring, squeeze, squeeze, pull yourself forward. And relax. Now we're gonna do a little kinetic stretching. So what I want you to do is all those muscles that you just finished doing, you're gonna now push yourself out and then squeeze yourself forward. Going back and forth. Push yourself out, squeeze and elongate that front hip, or that back hip, excuse me. Again, forward. Squeeze that glute, squeeze those hamstrings. 2 more. And last one. Slowly get out of it. And we're back. Extend that left leg forward. Trail leg up. Knee over your hip. And all you're doing is you're practicing internal rotation, external rotation. The key here is to keep your knee over your hip. Don't let it shift, don't let it go sideways. Make a mental effort of holding your hip girdle strong. So I like to put my hands on my hips so that I know that I'm not cheating, and just go back and forth. What muscles do you need to do to incorporate in order for you to max out internal rotation, max out external rotation? Hang out at the end ranges. One more each direction. Awesome. Come on up. And we'll switch. Right leg forward. Kickstand that back foot out just a little bit. If you can, however long. We'll take that hip forward again. And find that end range. Ooh, this side's tender. And hold. So I try to drag that back knee to that front foot now. Slowly rev up. Since I'm tender here, I have to be really cautious because hold that 40%. 10. This is the muscle, whatever this stuff here is, it's trying to drag your back knee towards the front foot. 2. And 1. Squeeze that glute, squeeze that hamstring. And literally by contracting the glute and the hamstring, you're pushing your hip forward through that muscle contraction on the posterior chain. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Find that new space. Oh, look at that. That's tremendous right there. Good. Start dragging that back knee again. Now we're doing maximal effort here. So 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Everything you got now. You should start shaking now. Get all this stuff here to be trying to drag that back knee towards that front foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rail. Squeeze your glute. Squeeze your hamstring. Push that hip forward. Squeeze. Dig. Dig. 5, 4, more. 3, 2, 1, and relax everything. Couple kinetic stretches. Push out. Squeeze that glute and hamstring. Push your hip forward. Elongate that front part of that back hip. Push out of it. And again, pull yourself forward by squeezing that glute, squeezing that hamstring, pushing that hip forward. Again, push out of it and go. And out. 2 more. Last one. And slowly get out of it. Oh, shit. Oh, that was not easy. Lay down on your back. Hands on your hips. External rotation. Internal rotation. Keep that knee stationary over your hip capsule. The idea is we're trying to do axial rotation of the femur. It's your thigh bone. So there's a rod that's going from your kneecap to your hip joint. It's not allowing it to move. You're creating that stability with your muscle effort as you try to do internal and external rotation. Hang out at the end ranges. When you hit that block, try to go like 1 or 2 extra degrees more if you can. One more in each direction. Awesome. Slowly come up. Take a second. All right. Next what we're going to do is we're going to do a half kneeling clean and press, windmill, and then kick throughs. So the half kneeling press, you're going to take a weight, you can take anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It's really, the focus is not really on the load of this. This is just an external cue. It's really about stabilizing your spine and creating the dexterity and the elongation and control of your hips. So you're going to same half kneeling. Find what it is, tuck that pelvis. All you're going to do is you're going to bend down. The idea is to not round the spine. Hip hinge forward to grab it, to come up. That's the first one. The windmill is, bear with me 1 second while I adjust the camera. Windmill is up over high, shoulder width apart, bending the knee as you reach down towards the guy. We're going to do 5 here and then switch sides. And the very last one is kick throughs. Done this before. Those last ones are designed for like knee cuts. So just be aware of that. That's why it's integrated in here, because it mimics knee cut, because you're doing spinal rotation. So here we go. Start with the first one. Which you're going to do 6, 5, and then 10. So here we go. Hold that hip girdle strong. The idea is to go slow here. Don't let your hip girdle move. You're hip hinging forward, keeping everything nice and tight as you do this. Also switch sides. Let's add a little bit more difficulty maintaining the hip girdle. Up to the windmill. So you're bending the knee where you're trying to touch your toes. That's the knee that bends. Look up at the weight of your overhead. Find that balance. We're working on those lower back muscles. Q-L is the primary one that I feel in this position for me, which causes a lot of back pain with the majority of us. And 1, 10 kick throughs. And 10. And relax for just a second. Catch your breath. If you've never done those sit-throughs before, it takes a little practice. So a little bit of like a mild hop to replace one foot with the other. And a lot of shoulder stabilization, which is one of the reasons why we start with the sleeper stretch. We want to wake up the shoulder joint so that it's able to stay strong. Where all the superficial muscles, the muscles that you see, shoulder, the arm, have to work because now the joint, the shoulder joint is stabilized. All right, back to the first one. Last round. Half kneeling, front foot forward, squeeze that glute, tuck the pelvis under, hold everything stationary while you go up and down with the arm. Hip hinge forward. Again, the idea behind this is to not do an excessive amount of load. It's about controlling your hip girdle. I think this is 6. Wasn't really counting, sorry. Switch sides. This side's much harder for me. 6. Up to windmill. In case you want to watch, see from the side, I'm up. Last round of kick throughs. And 10. And relax. Little decompression. 4 things we're going to do. Elbow circles, palms in front of you, so you're sitting on your knees, toes tucked in the background, and we're doing just circles with our elbows. We're going to do 6 in one direction, 6 in the opposite direction. Next one is pin circles. Here, internal, external rotation of the shoulder. 10, then 10. Then needle arm, this is my favorite. So down 6 on each side. And the very last one is kneeling spinal waves. So we're basically rolling, it's like a rolling cat-cow. Okay? Pretty simple, we're only doing one of each. One set of each. There we go. 6 elbow circles. And 6, opposite direction. All right, switch up. Wrist pin circles. Out and in is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My favorite needle arm. Reach up with that elbow, reach across, sit into that spinal rotation on the upper back. And again. Each time I try to put more of my weight into the stretch. You'll be amazed at how much little flexibility, especially those of you that are watching that are white and blue belts, how much little spinal rotation you actually have. The better you get at this, the better you get at forward rolls, backward rolls, gravity rolls. That's one of the spinal waves. Take your time with this one. This is about learning to communicate to your spine and trying to think one vertebrae at a time. So from this position, you're going to start in like an excessive cat. You're going to roll yourself and unwind into like almost like a cow or an upward dog. It's called reach that chin up and back. Count forward. Slowly start to unwind. Chin up, pushing the ground away. Feels amazing. Last one. Back. Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to finish out with maximal expansive breaths. So all the way in, all the way out, all the way in, all the way out. So no stopping. You may want to stop. Don't stop. You're going to feel a little lightheaded. It's normal. You're not going to die. You're sitting on the ground. For the more advanced people that might be watching, get into your positional breaths where you need the most help. It could be in spinal rotation. It could be an inverted guard. I personally like to do it in seated, like the yoga squat, like the excessive squat, so that I can practice being comfortable and breathing in my maximal guard retention position, which is right here. So here we go. Remember, you're trying to create a circle, in and all the way out, in and all the way out. One of the most important things is catching that potential energy from all the way out. So if you breathe all the way out and you relax, the breath starts for you. You're going to pick it up. So breathe all the way out, relax, and then pick up the breath. Okay? And then you're going to feel a little bit of rotation. So again, just keep going. Don't stop. Here we go. Breath in, all the way out. And again in. Breath in. More air in. Five more. Last two. And relax. Calm, relaxed breath. Enjoy the breath here. Close your eyes. Come to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Take a second and Tell yourself 3 things you're grateful for. I like to start with my son. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I have to remind myself constantly. Because sometimes life gets in the way and it's easy to forget the things that are important in your life. Whether it's family or friends, or work, whatever it may be that is important to you that you're grateful for. Just repeat it to yourself a few times. Take one more breath in together. All the way out. Again, breath in. And all the way out. Oops, guys. Thanks for watching. Tune in. I'll see you Thursday, guys. Oops.